Good afternoon, guys. This is a pretty neat experience for me, all right? But welcome today to our Hall of Fame luncheon. I want to just start by a little housekeeping and make sure that I ask each of you, just for respect of our event today, to silence your cell phones if you would. That would be a great start. And I think we'll open things up right away. I'd like to tell you that this is our 50th year as a club. And certainly it would not be appropriate if we were to kick this event off today without recognizing and inviting up for our invocation a tradition with All Sports Association, Reverend Jim Ross. Reverend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let us pray. Our Father, many of us of the faith believe in life after death, but we also believe in life after birth, the quality of life that brings excellence and self-appreciation, but also appreciation and affirmation of others. We thank you, O God, for this splendid group and for what they stand for. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you, Reverend. As I said, Reverend Ross, at this event, it's a tradition, just like Mr. Eddie Taylor's jacket. So we're excited to have you all here today. We're going to have a little time just to get started with dinner. So for lunch, let's go ahead and take a few minutes to get eating, and we'll get the thing started here shortly. Thanks. Well, thank you once again for being here today. It's a real honor for me to be part of this ceremony, and as well as the others we have planned for this week. Obviously, we're filled with a room of past presidents, so most people here know what All Sports is about. What a lot of people don't know, they'll see the checks we present on Friday night at our banquet, but what a lot of people don't know maybe is some of the work we do year-round. Just to kind of give an example, supporting youth in Northwest Florida. Just this year, the past year and a half or so, we've given money to buy kids sailboats at the sailing club here so they can learn how to support those youth programs. We have given money for a public use indoor batting facility up at the college. Will be open to the public. What else? We put in lights at the Mullet Festival up in Niceville so the kids could use those football and soccer fields at night and for practicing games. One of the things I'm most proud of was just recently our club provided a significant contribution to Bay County, 5 high schools there who were dramatically impacted by Hurricane Michael. We had an effort spearheaded by Terry Pilcher back there. Thanks, Terry. We were able to provide them some needed equipment for their baseball and softball teams. They lost their football season, basketball seasons, but with the help, we were able to help salvage their baseball and softball seasons because they lost everything. So I want to thank you guys. So with that it brings us till today. This is the start of our banquet week, and this is one of the most significant events I think we put on. It's something we started years ago, and Chad will have the honors today as our master of ceremony, but the Hall of Fame luncheon is really an opportunity for us to recognize individuals from our community that have used their platforms to positively impact and inspire others. So it's a real honor for me to be here today, to be part of the ceremony, and we thank you for our guests, our honored guests, as well as their guests for making the trip over and being part of this today. There's lots to do all year long leading up to this week. We've got 100 guys working hard. One of the things I have to say, though, was this event and the preparations for this event have been mostly put together without me being involved at all. And for that, I thank you, the Hall of Fame committee. I know Rube and Dick, Eddie, Chad, all you guys. I know there's Bill Kleinhelter, a few others, but I wanted to say thank you. This is the one I'm not worried about because you guys handle this like a machine, so it's well done, and I appreciate your help with that. And with that said, I look forward, as I become a past president, which is not too far down the road, I look forward to helping out and participating in this as well with the same enthusiasm you guys have. So thank you for that. So speaking of past presidents, that brings us to our gold badge ceremony. You'll see a lot of gold badges around here. Those are some of the past presidents in our club who have worked hard and earned that gold badge, and we appreciate all they've done. So with that, I'm going to ask Bernard to make his way down. Bernard Johnson I'm privileged to bring Bernard down here and present to him his own gold badge and medallion today. I know you waited long for this, Bernard. That's right. But I will tell you, Bernard has done some incredible things. I'll just name two of those that were very important. One, he brought in last year Herm Edwards into our banquet. If you were fortunate enough to be there, one of the best keynote speakers I've ever heard. The other thing that Bernard did that was very important to me was he taught us all how to be a smooth operator. And that I am indebted to you, Bernard, for that. So let me start giving him a round of applause for serving as our last year's past president, having such a successful year. If you would, join me over here.
All right.
We're going to remove this.
Set out on eBay, so I'm gonna get that back.
That's right. Here. Put it in your pocket. There we go. And here is your medallion. Thank you, sir. And let me give you one last one. All right. Before we sit down, I'm going to ask my board real quick. One final dilly for Bernard. Dilly. Thank you,
Appreciate it, fella. Thanks.
Thanks. And with that, I'm going to introduce today's MC as our master of ceremonies, Mr. Chad Hamilton, another past president. Thanks, Chad.
All right, everyone. Hello. Chad Hamilton. I'm really honored to have the opportunity to be the MC for these Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. You know, I'm a far cry in talent and expertise from your typical MC. We've had Mr. Ruben Asco did a fantastic job for us, and prior to that, Tom Brazil. I'm not nearly as witty. I'm not nearly as good a storyteller, but you're stuck with me nonetheless. Or as tall. Yeah, thanks for adding that. That's very painful. But this event kicks off our festivities for the week. This is our 50th year, which is a very proud thing for this to be our 50th year. It's amazing to think that this has come together for this many years. It's been as incredible as it has. And really appreciate the vision from those founders that you see out here in this hallway, who are the founders of our organization and had the vision for this event. But also, you know, for the vision of these Hall of Fame founders. 17th year now that we're doing this, and it's amazing that we have the opportunity to recognize Northwest Florida's many amazing athletes who, as athletes, coaches, and contributors to their sport, here locally, often nationally, and many times around the globe. It's a great thing for us to have the opportunity to recognize all that we have in this area and be a part of it. So, you know, we've had Lee come up and talk to us, and, you know, we start this event starts off our festivities, and the banquet ends the festivities. So our keynote speaker will be traveling in on Friday. How's the weather forecast looking, Lee? I mean, was it dense fog?
And hour by hour.
Yeah, dense fog and lots of rain. Does that translate into anxiety and a side order of ulcer for you as we get there? Yeah.
Yes,
Well, things are coming together very well, and, you know, as other MCs would tell you, you're doing pretty good so far. You still have an opportunity to mess it up. But we'll finish introductions to the rest of the head table here. We have Reverend Jim Ross. So Reverend Ross and I were speaking earlier, and we didn't exactly pin it to an exact year, but about 30 years he's been serving as the all-sports chaplain. So we want to thank you for that amazing service. Your prayers are better than anyone else's we hear. The insight that you put into them and the stories you tell, always love listening to those prayers. And we have, from our sponsors, we also have Mr. Steve Wolfram from Chelco. So they've been a sponsor for us since the inception of this event. So we'll thank you, Steve, and thank Chelco for sponsoring us. Next, we have Mr. Ron Toole from IS4S. They've joined on as a sponsor the last couple of years, and thank you for help making this part of this event possible for us. Another sponsor who is not here with us today, got called away, TDY, was Mr. Greg Esses with Oasis. And since Greg is a Duke grad and part of the folks who interview Duke people when they're trying to go to Duke University from this area, we are absolutely certain that the year that Coach K retires, he's going to be our speaker without any problem. And I'm sure we'll be able to get him for less than his $125,000 corporate speaking fee that he has now. So also some folks we'd like to recognize and thank. We have Miss Lynette J., our photographer. We also have back there Mr. R.J. Murdoch. He's our videographer. You see him at many of our events, and he's going to make you famous on Emerald Coast TV because this will be up there and be live streamed or available for streaming later. And so each year you have this president. They do a great job of putting this together. And, I'd like to go ahead and recognize the board of directors who helped put all that together along with the president. So would y'all please stand and be recognized? Not all at once and not in a hurry, all right. So thank you all very much. Be seated. And next we'll introduce the Hall of Fame committee, which most of them are seated right here in the middle of the room. We have Mr. Eddie Taylor and Bernard Johnson, who will also be inductors for us today. Rube Manasco and Dick Cannon, Jimmy Campbell, Bill Kleinhelter, and then Steve Boswell, and then Don Collins is our board liaison for the committee this year. But out of 4 of those board members were original founders of this committee. Eddie Taylor, Rube Manasco, Dick Cannon, and Jimmy Campbell are still original members of that committee that helped found it. So very much appreciate, again, the vision of those folks to recognize that we have a good opportunity to recognize people here in our community who are great and worthy of the Hall of Fame. We have inductees who are here with us today. We have Tom Hammonds back here, 2007. Rube Manasco, 2008. We also have Ray Ross, 2011. Mickey Inglet, 2012, 2 of the greatest basketball coaches in our area. They're back-to-back there. We have Reverend Jim Ross as well, 2014. Is Kathy Combas here? She's not here, but she's also 2015. And no Cliff Lewis. Oh, we have Carolyn Briganti. So sorry to miss you there. So that was also year 2005. And again, her husband, Jerry, was also a founder of the Hall of Fame. And sorry I missed you back there. But she and her husband are also dear friends of our family. And Mr. Briganti was always great, always kind to me, and had no reason to be. Do we have Chester Norris in the room, I believe? Thought I saw him show up. And Billy Michael, did he show? All right, I missed. So whiffed on a couple there. So also, one other thing, the board of directors that you have that we presented earlier, as well as all the past presidents who are in the room, they are your voters for your Hall of Fame class. So past presidents, will you please stand and be recognized? All right. So today, along with our guests who we will be inducting, we also have their guests. So Dr. Taylor's guests are here at this table, which they'll be recognized later. And Mr. Jones' guests are here at our table to my right, to your left, over here. All right. Well, without much further ado, we want to go ahead, and we have something different this year. We'll have a couple of videos to help introduce our inductees. So RJ, would you please go ahead and cue Dr. Taylor's?
The Northwest Florida Daily News named her Tennis Player of the Year in 2002. Choctawhatchee High School's valedictorian and the All Sports Association's Scholastic Award winner Jolyn Taylor has had an amazing journey. Attending Emory University on an academic scholarship, she was also a 2-time NCAA Division III women's doubles champion, 2-time women's singles finalist, and 6-time All-American. Jolyn Taylor attended medical school at New York University Medical Center, graduating with honors in 2010. Today, Dr. Taylor is an assistant professor of gynecologic oncology at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. We welcome Dr. Jolyn Taylor into the All Sports Association Hall of Fame.
All right, so now we'll bring up Mr. Eddie Taylor. Come on up, and then we'll begin the induction part, and we'll present her with her award in just a moment.
First time I ever saw Jolyn Taylor, she's playing down at Ferry Park, practicing with her dad. Joe got tired of chasing all those tennis balls, so he had a machine that fired it back automatically. I'm sure she remembers that. Her dad, Joe Taylor, was also a football player in the state of Mississippi. He and his wife, Linda, are now babysitting for their two kids, a boy and a girl, in Houston. And some people may not remember it, but the 1970 All-Sports Banquet, her brother, Tiger Taylor, was the amateur award winner. I think he's in California now. He won in our first banquet we had. She was the Northwest Florida Daily News Tennis Player of the Year in 2000. And if I remember correctly, for many, many years, she's the only singles state champion out of Okaloosa County, like tennis or golf or whatever. In All Sports Association in 2002, she's a Scholastic Award winner. She's Choctawhatchee High School's valedictorian with way over a 4-point average. And in 2005, she was our Collegiate Award winner. Okay, undergraduate, she was entered Emory University in 2002 and 2006. She was awarded a full academic scholarship to Emory. She graduated with a BA in chemistry and Spanish, summa cum laude. Think that's all A's. Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society, 2006. Medical school, New York University Medical Center, 2006 and 10. Alpha Omega Alpha Medical Honor Society, 2010. Her mother once told me that she got a personal call from the president of the University of Miami to come there to medical school, but she goes to New York instead. In her residency, she's obstetrics and gynecology, New York Presbyterian Hospital and Cornell winner, 2010-2014. Global Women's Health course from the Icahn School of Medicine in Mount Sinai, 2012 and 13. Graduate School, University of Texas School of Public Health, Master of Public Health, 2014 and 16. Fellowship, Gynecological Oncology, MD Anderson Cancer Center, 2014-2018. And MD Anderson Clinical Safety and Efficiency Course Graduate, 2015. Leadership teams, University of Texas, MD Anderson Cancer Center, Gynecological Oncology, Clinical Quality Fellowship, 2017-18. Society of Gynecological Oncology Task Force in Legislature and Regulatory Affairs, 2016 and 18. Houston Health Information and Management System, Society Education Committee, 2016-17. MDA Fellowship Planning Committee, 2015. MDA Advanced Care Planning Strategic Team, 2015. SGO Congressional Ambassador Program, 2015. MDA Inpatient Gynecological Quality Care Team Manager, 2015 and 16. MDA EPIC Program Integrated Clinical Team, 2014 and 16. MDA Fellowship Education Program Committee, 2014 and 15. New York Well Cornell Obstetrics and Gynecological Administrative Chief Resident, 2013 and 14. And New York Well Cornell Clinic for Victims of Sex Trafficking Educator and Volunteer, 2013 and 14. And here's the meat of the problem. Honors and awards, University of Texas Shared Visions Conference, second place Abstract Award, 2016. Conquer Cancer Foundation of ASCO Merit Award, 2016. MDA Trainee Research Day Bayer Healthcare Pharmaceutical second place Poster Award Population Science, 2015. Healthcare Information and Management Systems Society Student Scholarship, 2015. Jerome Seller Award for Surgical Excellence, 2014. New York Cornell Medical Center Alumni Council Distinguished Half Staff Award for All-Around Excellence, 2013. Hilda Limpton Memorial Award, 2010 for Community Service. New York University President's Service Award for New York Free Clinic and Co-Director, 2008. Selected by Moves Magazine as a Power Woman in 2009. Only 20 women in the city of New York City won this award. British Marshall Scholarship Finalist 2005. Robert Woodruff Scholarship 2002 and 2006. Academic All-American Collegiate Athlete in Tennis 2004. Six-time All-American College Athlete in Tennis 2003 and 4. Intercollegiate Tennis Association Rookie of the Year in 2003 and Scholar Athlete 2003. Two-time Division Women's Double Champion 2003 and 4. That's a national championship. Two-time Division II Women's Tennis Single Finalist 2003 and 4. And her latest award, she's now an assistant professor at MD Anderson, Houston. And for that, I'd like to present Dr. Jolyn Taylor.
Eddie, you gonna get in a picture with us? Eddie?
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone, for having me here. Thank you to Eddie for nominating me. Thank you for the All Sports Association for selecting me and letting me be here. Thank you to my guests, who, without your guidance, I wouldn't be here. Coming here, I had the chance to reflect, which is something in my schedule I don't always take the time to do. And I thought about my years, tennis, and all the lessons that I learned from my coaches, my first coach, Scott Gilmore, who's here, Don Kelly, who wasn't able to be here, Eric Stenberg, Joe DeLeo, and his wife, Jessica. As growing up in this community and spending all the hours that I did on the court and training, you learn a lot of things that not only help you on the court, but later in life. So the years I spent training, the number of practice sessions when you're tired and you don't feel like it, the number of times you keep doing that one aspect of your game over and over to get better, whether it's a serve, a forehand, a backhand. All of that was what allowed me to continue on in my career after tennis. Now I don't spend as much time on the court, but I usually spend up to 12 hours a day in a 3 by 5 foot area around the operating table. A lot of surgical practice is similar to practicing at your best on a sport, or a tennis court in my case. I have to choose the right equipment, I have to choose the right platform, I have to take the risks, I have to take the patient's trust, and I always have to try to be better. And those same lessons came from all the years growing up, and all the lessons I learned from my coaches who are here today. Also a huge thank you to my parents, who, as Eddie mentioned, are watching my children. And that's why I was able to hear it today. As a parent now, I'm beginning to understand all the sacrifices that they made, the support that they gave me to help me be here. And it's truly humbling to think about what all they did. As I continued on in my career, and I met my husband who's here with me today, Brian, I couldn't have been here without his support as well. And the last thing that I wanted to reflect on, my current life, I'm an oncologist. So not only do I operate, but I give chemotherapy, and I treat women from the time of diagnosis until their life is over. And that's a special honor that I'm able to do. And as an oncologist, I have a lot of conversations about life and about what's important. And what usually comes down, their fondest memories are of community, of the things that they felt they really made an impact. And that's a reminder every day to try to be better, to try to remember my community, where I'm from, to think of how to improve the community, like the good work that's done by the All Sports Association. And I also wouldn't have been able to be where I am today without all the support and the understanding and the guidance I received along the way. So thank you very much for this honor. it's very humbling, and it goes to really many people who helped me reach here. And it's a challenge to continue to deserve this in the future. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Taylor. It truly is our honor to recognize all that you have done and amazed to see what you will do as well. 2003, 2004 national champion in doubles. If you look at the rest of her record, if you go to the Mercer site to look up some of the rest of her stats and look at stats in general, in 2003 historically, she and her partner were absolutely dominant, and they stick way out in the rest of the stats amongst those Division III. But I do have to ask you, did you win the doubles before you had to play her as a finalist, correct? Because two-time singles finalist, at both those times, did you lose to your partner?
Yes.
Yeah. So did you win the doubles before you did the singles?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have been drilling her in the back of the head if you'd have had to lose to her at least once in there. And also, if you go to her bio page it's the MD Anderson Center, amazing what you will see is what this young woman has accomplished thus far, the number of published works. And we know that you and your team are going to help defeat cancer one day. And when you do, we're going to celebrate that, and we're going to bring you back and give you one of those red sport coats like Eddie Taylor has. Sorry, Eddie, that was my one required duty doing this job, to give you a hard time about your sport coat. Mr. got Roy Jones Jr., amazing. They have one picture that's his card that we have, his signature card. 7 belts around this gentleman. So you pound for pound, the most amazing dude we're going to bring up and ever honor. But just looking at that one picture with 7 belts tells you about all you need to see. But we'll ask RJ to go ahead and play his tape, and then we'll bring up Bernard.
Roy Jones Jr., a boxing legend. As an amateur, Jones won the 1984 U.S. National Junior Olympics and the U.S. National Golden Gloves in 1986 and 1987. Jones represented the United States at the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul, winning the silver medal. His professional career began in 1989. A 6-time world boxing champion, he won belts in 4 different weight classes. Named Fighter of the Decade by the Boxing Writers Association of America. He is a member of the Florida Sports Hall of Fame and now the All Sports Association Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Roy Jones Jr.
All right, Mr. Bernard Johnson, please come on up and induct Roy Jones Jr.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. I want to recognize, of course, Roy's going to do it as well, his wife, Natalie. Thank you for being here as well. And they have 3 kids who weren't able to make it, but I appreciate you joining Roy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Roy's promotional company that he has. Pensacola-based Square Ring, Inc. is a global promotional company that is majority owned by boxing legend Roy Jones Jr., an 8-time world champion in the middleweight, superweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight divisions. In addition to being the first former middleweight champion to win a world heavyweight crown in over 100 years. That was done, McGee was catching me up on this yesterday, so we were talking about some stuff, but 106 years ago, Bob Fitzsimmons had done it back then. And so to do all that he's done in that's remarkable. Square Ring has promoted some of the largest pay-per-view boxing events in the world, and over the past decade has promoted or co-promoted boxing events in crowded arenas throughout the United States and on pay-per-view, premium, cable, satellite, and terrestrial television networks throughout the world. When I first read that, I'm thinking terrestrial, I'm thinking of E.T., I'm thinking maybe he's doing some boxing maybe outside of the Earth atmosphere, maybe doing some stuff in the Milky Way galaxy, but doing some big stuff, that's all good. So about Roy Jones, in addition to being an 8-time world champion boxer in 4 different weight classes, the multi-talented Roy Jones Jr. is a boxing promoter, a hit music performer and manager, and a television and motion picture actor. I was watching a video, and y'all, probably looked at some of Roy Jones' stuff online, but he was doing an interview with Chris Rock. And Chris Rock had actually said, so what's it like to hit a man, to hit a grown man, just knock him out? He said, what does that feeling do for you? He said, you have to have some kind of hatred in you for a guy. And you would think that a fighter may have to enter into a battle with some form of hatred or, have some type of chip on his shoulder. But Roy's response was classic. I have no hate in my heart, and there's no hate, that is necessary for mankind to be about. So that was a good answer. So with that being said, Chris Rock said, he said, well, look at me. I'm not going to knock out anybody. Yeah, I can barely do that. So, but that's a good interview he did. After winning the light middleweight silver medal for the United States or being robbed of the gold medal for the United States, I think that's probably more apropos. At the 1988 Olympic Games in Seoul, South Korea, by way of a controversial decision and being named the 1988 Olympics Games most outstanding fighter, Jones embarked on an extraordinary boxing career that ultimately resulted in him being voted Fighter of the Decade for the 1990s by the Boxing Writers Association of America. So here we have, in our presence here, we got a guy that loved Muhammad Ali, had 134 amateur fights. That's a lot of fights. Montel Griffin, Bernard Hopkins, that's Bernard Hopkins, not Bernard Johnson. And Antonio Tarver fought him 3 times. So I was looking at the pay-per-view buys, and there's 3,178,000 pay-per-view buys associated with Roy Jones fights. So Boxer of the Year in 1994, with all that being said, he just celebrated his 50th birthday, January 16th. So come on up here, Roy. Let's give him a hand.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Can't be touched. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, you got me caught up in the wrong place. My bad. Why you do me like that? See, people know boxers are not known for having good common sense. You see how quick we get distracted? I had no clue what was going on, and it just caught me off guard. So when they say, are you retired? Yes, I'm retired. But if somebody say they want to fight and things sound right, when people always say they never understand why boxers never quit, well, it's kind of hard. We get caught up in this mentality. Stop it now. This mentality, he's still trying to distract me. We get caught up in this mentality of being a winner. But that doesn't start where they finally meet us at. That starts in our community. It takes a great community to build a winner. If you don't know how to grow up and understand winning and losing, to me, and understand how to deal with certain situations and certain circumstances, then you can't all of a sudden just become this marvelous person. It takes a lot of time to build a wonderful person. I mean, Jolyn is remarkable, and for her to have so many accolades and so much knowledge, and to be, I'm just a little bit jealous because she has so much knowledge in gynecology. It just ruins my mind. I mean, how could she be so smart and she's so good at tennis too? When I was in school, I wasn't trying to hit none of that. I just wanted to be on the basketball team or go fight. I didn't want to hear about what was going on in class. She is amazing. She paid attention, got straight A's, and won. I didn't give a care about the A's, the dates. I'm absent, none of that. I just wanted to win. So for me, that is, I mean, unheard of. And I promise you, that is unheard of for me because as a kid, you know, I grew up not really having anybody in my family to ever complete college or not having people to get scholarships in school or in colleges. So I grew up the hard way, not knowing what things like that were really about. So I didn't pay attention in school the way that I should have because I thought school was just something to waste time till I beat up enough people to become world champion. So yeah, as you see, when I tell people all the time, they say, you think boxing did anything to you mentally? I was ruined before I started boxing. This didn't happen from boxing. I was already like this. This is how I came out the womb. So for me, and I'm sorry, y'all, I just love life and I enjoy life. And I like to tell the truth the way that it really is. And sometimes, you know, people get offended about people who tell the truth. But I just like to speak my mind. and I like to be honest with people. I like to share my love for the Lord with people, because without God, I couldn't have did anything that I did. And as a kid, it goes, and I know I'm jumping all over the place, but in 10th grade, or 9th or 10th grade, I even used to go, and some of my favorite times of my life was watching Tom Hammond beat up on Darren Nix. You remember that? That was like, to me, that was like an NBA game. You had two guys who were taller than everybody else around here, and they didn't play games under that goal. So that was big time for me. And as a kid, you want to be one day the person that everybody comes to see. So when I went to see him, it inspired me to one day be good enough in boxing that somebody might want to come see me. Now, I tried a few other sports, wasn't quite tall enough for the basketball. Baseball, my friend got a black eye. I wasn't for no black eyes. Football, my team folded, so I couldn't really continue to play football as a kid. And I just couldn't understand with baseball. I mean, I do understand, I love it, and I love people who play it. I got nothing but the utmost respect for it. But if a ball gives you a black eye and you can't hit it back, or you can hit it back as hard as you want to, but it still won't turn black, that's not fair to me. I can't deal with that. If you hit me in my eye, give me a black eye, I gotta be able to give you that back. If I can't get that back, I got a problem with that sport. And so my problem was, if you come to school with a black eye, what did you do in return? You know, I don't get that. So then in football, I was real good on offense. And I played quarterback, and I played right end on defense. Back then, you know, you had to play both sides of the field because you may not have but 15 or 20 players. So you had to know how to play something on almost every situation. So I was a quarterback, and I was a defensive end. But what started happening to me, and this is when I realized boxing was the thing for me, I would play on offense, and a guy, if I ran, I only had 3 plays: quarterback roll out left, quarterback roll out right, and quarterback sneaky. So they shortened the playbook for me so I wouldn't lose nothing, you know. So anyway, some of these guys, when I would come from back there, would really put a good lick on me sometime, right? So when I get on defensive end, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get that back now. Well, as I started getting a little bit older, some of these guys that were on defense when I was on offense, they over there with the coach. Well, I'm on defense. What you doing? Put him in here, him. I got to get my leg back. He over there with the coach watching, and I can't get my leg back. I said, this ain't for me. I need something I can get my leg back now. And matter of fact, I need my leg back 5, 6, or 7 times. You know, so when I discovered boxing, God delivered me home. There it is. Now you hit me one time, I can hit you 13. Now we got something. So that's how elaborate the mind has to be, though, to go over and beyond everything that's on normal kill. So for her to have so much knowledge at what she does lets me know that she is truly a superior person, because to do it, you can't just do it like normal people. Normal people say, if I get hit, I want to hit you back. Roy says, if you hit me, I owe you 13. And I don't care if they stop the fight, I still want my other 12. Because I had that happen one time, too. But no, I'm just honored, and thank you all for the accolades, the All Sports Association, for having me down, for enjoying, bringing my beautiful wife with me, with my friends, McGee, Kevin, Moses, James. I just constantly try to do the best that I can, and when I was doing what I was doing, I was just trying to make sure that everybody knew where our community was. Everybody knew that we had a community that also produced a good group of winners like we did, and I just wanted everybody to know that, you know, if you ever met somebody from my area, they were gonna know me, I was gonna probably know them, and we all always kind of hold and stick together, but we always stand for what we believe in. And that's part of having a beautiful community behind you. So I want to say thank you to everybody for everything that you ever done for me, for all the support you guys have ever given me, and thank you again on behalf of me and my family and my people for this wonderful award. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Roy. That was great. Got to go to his website too. You have to look at his 2 greatest hits videos that are on there. You want to see a man with a case of the quicks? Right there. He was hitting one guy, hit him like 6 times before he hit the ground. I mean, it's zero exaggeration. Absolutely amazing. Quite a fighter. So with that, we're bringing up Reverend Ross to give us our closing invocation.
I have an announcement to make that after this event, the beloved Eddie will fight Roy Jones. Prayers for you, brother. Dear friends, very quick, 2 or 3 minutes worth. I want to tell you a true story about someone very different than this association is. In the small town of Brundage, Alabama, in Pike County, near Troy, there lived a family, Walter Cloud Bass and his sister, Annie Cloud Bass. The unusual thing about them was they had the biggest house on the street. But there was something in their family with all the money they had. Their mother and father had made them pledge that they would never marry anyone to keep the money in the family. And as I prayed in the opening prayer, it seems to me the question, is there life after birth? That you great folks and you splendid people have learned that lesson well, that it is only as we give ourselves away that we found great, great enjoyment in the journey of life. Closing story, there was a man who drove into Orlando, Florida, took his Chevrolet in to get it serviced, happened to walk through the place where they service cars by permission, and he watched this mechanic working on this car, and he just could not get it to smooth out. So the man, who was very well dressed, walked over and he said, "Sir, I have an idea that if you would get this part and regulate this, the motor would smooth out." The man said, "Well, doggone it, I've done everything I know to do. I'll give that a shot." So he went in, got the part, adjusted another thing, and the car smoothed out. The mechanic turned to the well-dressed man and said, "Sir, how did you know that?" He said, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, down here on vacation. He said, I'm the chief design engineer for the Chevrolet division of General Motors. I designed the motor. And I would close with the thought that God, who designed how we should live, knows best how we run best. I want to say how much I admire this group, and closing thought very quickly. I've lifted weights. I'm in my 80s now and lifted weights all these years, and I had an injury and I couldn't work out for a while. I went back in the gym and I was lifting and I looked in the mirror and I saw this old guy. And it was me. So I want to say with deepest gratitude to the All Sports Association, it has been an honor to be your chaplain that is beyond my ability to state. But I think this is probably time for me to put it down. But words have been my craft for 60 years, but I don't have words to thank you for the blessing you have been to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reverend Ross. Appreciate that, and we'll just pretend like we didn't hear that last part. That would be bittersweet if that is the case. But folks, I will ask you now, we'll close out, and if you'll join me outside for the unveiling of our 2 new inductees.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the induction and now enshrinement of Jolyn Taylor and Roy Jones Jr., our 2019 Hall of Fame class. Come on, Ruben. There we go.
folks. We appreciate everybody coming out. I'm gonna turn it over to Lee Lewis now to close us out.
I just want to say thank you for being here, and I'm just it's an honor. This is our 50th year as a club, and I get to serve 1 year as president, and they picked the right year. I'm just absolutely honored to have the opportunity to be around guests like you, and to recognize you as you're inducted today. So what a complete thrill for me today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to say, instead of 30 for 30, we got 50 for 50. So
It's people like you that keep me inspired, and I hope I grow up and be like all you guys. Thank you guys.
Jesse.